Hey guys, welcome back. It's Grim Reaper coming at you for another video for Raidshadowlegends. Hopefully doing well and hopefully you're looking after yourself. Damn, are we going to do a very interesting video today, and I've got some interesting stuff to share with you guys for today. It's only the first time I cover this champion. I won't be doing too many champion guides on this champion, but we are going to recently talk about, obviously we've got clan vs clan going on, about the recent champion of that was added to the game. It was a fusion champion, and we're going to talk about Titus. Now, I haven't done any Titus videos on him. I know there's been like a ton of Titus videos, and I've watched one or two. I haven't watched too many in detail, if I'm being honest, but I built him out for my Chimera. I'm not going to talk about Hydra today. I'm going to talk about Chimera. Then I'm going to talk about a few reasons why I've choose to run him in my Chimera team overall, with everything else going on inside Raidshadowlegends. So obviously I will go through a lot in this video. There is a lot of information. I will put titles down below. It's probably one of the first ever videos that I've actually had to go out and write some notes for today's video to make sure that we don't miss any information. But I wanted to talk about how I have recently beat my personal best in Chimera full auto. There's no messing around. There's no magma shield in this team either, which we'll get to later, and how I've been able to do 824 million on Ultra Nightmares Chimera full auto. It's only 5 trials, but I'm going to go into this why I've only done 5 trials and the reasons why I built this team out overall. Now, in today's video, we'll go through a lot of information. We're going to share the replays, and you can see there that's the type of damage that we're playing with right now. I'm actually the highest DPS in my clan so far for the Chimera Clash, which is a big bonus to them. So, obviously, we're going to go through the run. I have run both my keys already, so I do need to go over the presets with you, but we're going to go over the presets of the run. So let me grab the run, and then we'll talk about some information as well. So, okay, this is going to be the team. So the reason why I've chosen to build this team is there's many reasons why. My time in the game is very scarce. I've did a video on the weekend saying that raid need to fix raids, and or there will be no more raid left in a year or so. And I generally do believe that raid will carry on going downhill, and we'll lose a lot of our players, which we have been losing a lot of players, which I'm not going to cover so much in today's video. Which is a few issues. So we're going to talk about the champions, I'm going to talk about some replacements, and we're going to talk about the turn order as well. So we're going to play this in the background, then I'll do a full auto run with some music as well, whilst I'm covering the notes overall. So let's talk about the skill priorities. So we're going to start off with Wixwell. He's going to open with A2 as a priority. And then we're going to open with the A3 and then set the 2 on the A3. So basically it will go priority A2, open with A3, and then put the A3 on the 2. With the Androck, we're going to talk about the A2 is going to be on the priority, but he's going to open with the A3, and then you'll set up the A2 as the A3 as the 2 behind it. Then Chris will open up with the priority of the A2. You're going to turn off the A3, and then you're going to set up the opening as the A1 on the main form, so he can land decrease the speed. It's useful but not required. Then we're going to open up with priority on Lydia on E3, and then on the E2, and then A3. But then on the Viper form, we're going to set priority on the A3, then A2, so we can launch the block type of skills against a Viper form to stop him with the 3%. So that will be it. And then Titus, you're going to switch off the A3. It's not needed at all. And then you're going to set the priority as the A2. Against a ram form to be full auto, you'll set up the ram form to be A2 to be switched off as well as the A3. And A3 will be switched off on all rotation. So that's generally the main ways to kind of think about it with this team and with the skill presets, and it should be full auto. I will share the presets in a different video in the future, or I will share it in my Discord, which will be pinned in the comments as well, and I'll share it on Friday when my keys are back as well. And then there is some important notes as well. So we have some replacements and etc. So the notes when building this specific team is Titus needs to be a balanced build on the optimizer, not the highest damage build. You will want basically someone to be higher with higher defense, which we'll talk about shortly. Wixwell is going to be a 9-piece protection. He wants to be a balanced build on the optimizer with maximum speed and with accuracy of 475. Then obviously with Androck, we want to be balanced build with the highest defense than Titus, just so he can focus with the lion form. The buff will go on the him overall, so that would be make sense. Then with the Krisk, we want to do the maximum speed in a shield set as well. Krisk just again so ability stats, which is great. And then Lydia will be built in a 9-piece Ferald with maximum speed with the lowest critical damage in the team. So as you can see, she'll take the debuff bar on Lydia. Has to go on Lydia because everyone else still needs to be able to extend the debuffs, etc. So that's one thing to take into consideration. My Lydia's a +4 fully awakened. It was very difficult for me to do this with my team, so I had to use relics to kind of balance out the critical damage. You could definitely do the same as you wanted, and there is other replacements. Titus needs to be in 6-piece Merciless, not a 9-piece Merciless, and 1 set of Zeal. Do not use Blood Shield as well, because if you use someone like a Shield set or a Wixwell, you don't need Blood Shields, and that's one thing to also take on consideration. It actually does less damage and can screw up your team by using Blood Shield. I made that mistake myself. So yeah, big shout out to Fabian. He gave me a helping hand to this team and just helped me speed up the process. And he's built out a couple of teams like this already. Now, as you can see here, there is a few replacements that you can do. Now, my team has got Androck. Obviously, Androck's first form doesn't need any resistance whatsoever across the board. Now, there is a couple of replacements that you can do overall. So let me just go to my notes and look at the notes about the replacements. So, first of all, Androck can be replaced with Ferald, which is a Silver Watcher champion who has like the increased resistance buff, and he also has a resistance aura as well. And the resistance you'll need for your full team with his aura will be 300 resistance without Interior Presence as well. So that's one thing to take consideration. You can also use Ola as well, who is also from the Silver Watchers champion, who is a formal fusion champion, and you'll need 400 resistance for her and the whole team to make this full auto and to do. Now, a couple of factors to know about the team. If the shield drops off on if the shield drops off on the Lydia or on the Titus, then you need to reset the team and basically go again. If the shield gets 3%ed on someone else or gets took off on anyone else, as long as your shield set is still up, you're perfectly fine. And that is another factor. Now, a big way to increase your damage with another way you can increase your damage is obviously use a magma shield, and that's going to increase your damage by quite a bit. I think it's about 30%, Fabian mentioned. Now, I do have a magma shield on my account, but it's very expensive to move, and I still like it for arena. Potentially, I'll try next week for Chimera to see and how much damage we can get as a bit of a laugh. Ideally, you have a cat gaze as well on Titus with the boss slayer gemstone. Boss slayer gemstone not needed. It's just additional extra damage of 10% if you can get it overall on the team. And then you can also replace Krisk with most debuff extenders like Lady M, for example, which is perfectly fine. And it'll give you like the increased attack on A1. And then you have, if you want to replace Lydia and using Ferald, he has a decreased defense. You need to bring a decreased defense and a weaken from the Stenders as well if you want to replace Lydia. But everyone has Lydia, so I definitely would mention to carry on bringing that as well. So yeah, that's the main thing to take in consideration. Let me just make some notes about that because I'm making notes for Yeah, so yeah, I'll just make some notes there for takeovers and the information on that on as well as, and I can also share the notes in Discord if you guys went into that as well. So I guess that's it for the team. I'm gonna run this on full auto now with some music, and then we'll come out and check out all the builds. I think I've covered everything I've needed. I know Fabian will also watch this, and he might add some information down in the comments. So you might want to go ahead and look at the comments basically, and yeah, let's check out all the builds. So as you can see here, we have added, we've got 874 million damage, no center needed. Titus does it all. You can see here with fairly good builds, etc. How easy it is to do. I'll be honest, this team is not easy to build. Let me take that back, as kind of from my account it was easier to do because of Androck, but it's not an easy team to build, and most people would not be able to build this if I'm being honest, because it's very champion specific and it's very gear specific as well. So let me go through all the builds. You can see here Androck's going to come in with a 9-piece protection. He needs a minimum of 80,000 HP, and then defense is perfectly fine, as long as he has the highest defense. His speed is going to come in at 324. Now, the rule of thumb is you want 20 speed between your debuff extenders and Wixwell, so you want Wixwell to be the fastest in your comp, so he can do his shenanigans. Now, obviously, Androck could have some Kroger rate, etc. This build could be better. Resistance is not needed because of Androck's passive, and a 9-piece protection does increase damage. If you don't have that, then try a 6-piece. But just bear in mind that the 3% will be a bit more there. Now, for the relic, we actually use a Malefic Tangs to be able to balance out my critical damage across my whole team on everyone, and that's one thing as well that you need to take into consideration. Then for blessings, honestly, blessings not really too important, but I took cruelty for mine. You want to mix it up between cruelty, to presence, and a brimstone, I guess. And obviously, if you can run a 6-star crushing rem on Titus, that would be great as well. I think having cast all the way up to 5 for Chimera is the best way to go. I think it's definitely different I think it's definitely different for Hydra, but for Chimera that's probably the way I'd go. These are the masteries that we are using. These masteries are for Hydra, and I didn't want to spend the gems to change them. Not for Hydra, for Faction Wars, so I didn't want to do it too much, but you could definitely come in with some other stuff with like extra damage from like Warmaster and some bits and bobs here. I would take Lasting Gifts, so I definitely would take Lord of Steel, and Cyclo Magic's very, very useful. So that's one areas I would probably point out. Now, my Lydia is in a 9-piece protection because I don't have a banner in Ferald, unfortunately. So we are very limited on that. Obviously, we want it to be the lowest critical damage overall. And we want 475 accuracy. Obviously, you guys don't need the 400 resistance, etc., unless you're trying to build in replacements. And then defense and HP is fine. 250, 257 speed to 270 speed, it's perfectly fine. 100% critical rate's really not needed as well. I just built this out because it's a +4 fully awakened, and I was trying to drag that critical damage as low as possible to make sure she has the lowest critical damage in the team. So it was really hard to kind of get that in, but we did in the end be able to get it in. She has no relic at the moment. She's the only champion that doesn't have a relic in the team. So I could add the volcanic heart next week just to see on what the damage is. But you can see here it's going to cost me 640. I might leave it for the week after, or potentially the week after that. These are the masteries for Lydia. So these again are just Hydra masteries. I use her in like Trunda comp on for that, so I can't change the blessing and etc. too much because it can hurt me from a Trunda comp. She's the only 6-star cruelty I have in that. I will be building a Titus team as well for Hydra, but it's to be quick battle, not to be full auto, because I don't have time for that. Now Krisk is going to go in a shield set as well. You can put Androck in the shield set as well if you need it, and then put Krisk in the protection if you wanted instead. Either way, Krisk is the better one to do. Obviously, Krisk built a natural shield already, which is really, really strong. You can see here we're just focusing on good accuracy at 475, and then as much speed as possible, like 320, and then good defense and HP as well. So again, you can see that all gear is not rolled out. There was no reason for me to spend extra silver. Again, we use a relic to help out with the critical damage again, because I'm getting screwed on the critical damage side without changing masteries. We've got lightning cage as well. Again, you could go cruelty or something like that. And then these are the masteries. Again, not the best masteries. Warmaster is probably the best way to go, or Eagle Eye to help out with the build. Again, I use him in other areas, so I don't want to change his masteries because for other areas. And then we have Wixwell. So Wixwell is going to come in with Eagle Eye. Good shout there for that from Fabian to help out that, because we were struggling with the accuracy requirement in the 9-piece protection. I got Brimstone, but Cruelty is also worth it. We've added in a Molten Death Bow to help out the accuracy requirements, because we want him to be fast as possible with higher critical damage than Lydia, defense and HP to be reasonable, and then accuracy to be most important. Resistance with Androck is not needed, but again, if you're struggling to do so, then make sure you make the changes. I think by looking at all my builds, only him and him are struggling for resistance for me to make the change out for Androck. So that's one thing to take in consideration for my teams, I guess. Which, you guys probably don't need to use the critical damage relic so much like I do, because you probably don't have a +4 fully awakened Lydia. That's causing you problems. You might have higher level blessings on other champions as well that help you with these situations that I have on my account. I guess it's a rare situation, right? Then for Titus, we have a 6-piece Merciless, double Z set as well. So this is what we're looking at. He doesn't need 100% crit rate. This was a mistake I needed. For the A2, he always crits, so he doesn't need a 100% critical rate. You see here, critical damage coming in at 371. We have defense coming at 5,850. Again, we want him to have lower defense than Androck, or whatever you're going to use for Androck's replacement. And then you want him to be low as possible with the HP for his damage. So don't glyph your HP basically, and just keep that into consideration. For the relic, obviously you're going to use Cat Gaze and the boss layer if you have a boss layer. And then Heaven Cast is probably a way to go up until 6-star with the Crush and Rem. Then for the masteries, I don't know if these are the best masteries. I might need to test out some masteries overall. Actually, thinking about it, might be better to get rid of the HP and probably go with like accuracy and then cycle of magic. I wanted to cycle of magic, but that might be something I need to change. You could go more defense here as well. I don't know. I guess retribution would be fine to take for him overall, so that might be a change I might need to make. And then cycle of violence for me was quite important because of the how much damage we're going to do on that E3. It's going to be quite nice, but Merciless honestly will cover us a lot. And we got Ham Smasher as a tier 6 option as well. So I guess that's it for the team. I think I've pretty much covered everything. I'm mainly going to be running this team on rotations where Necmo is a weak affinity for so there's like next rotation and a rotation after that is a weak affinity, and like my keys become very, very daunting to run. Honestly, the materials anyway from Nightmare are not very good, and I'm only really bothered about Mythical now more than anything. So I might just run this team on Nightmare and then run my trial team on Ultra Nightmare still on weeks where it's actually worth it for me to run for that. Because even like Legendary now, like this is what we got. But to be honest, I own a Stormcaller, I own a Necrosis, and I own Hats and a creation, and how much stuff I need to manual anyway with like faction wars, etc. Which I am working on getting some of my faction wars now on full auto. Then it kind of just makes sense to me to run this and just take it easier. I've got takeovers to do, got content to focus on that I really want to focus on, and live arena, which is what I'd rather play. And when we're talking about the group, even me and Fabian talk about this one would be cool to have, but there was very niche on champions. Stormcaller goes on Marius. I've already got one. I don't really need a second one. Obviously, if I get a second one, it'd be cool, but I would rather get these two if I'm being honest. Yeah, still got a chance of getting these two, but relics are so easy to get, or not easy to get, but there is more places now of getting relic materials like faction wars, siege, uh, live arena. Basically, live arena is giving you a full quest a month for the live arena group or the chimera group anyway, so like why wouldn't you? And then like the siege as well, like so many areas of the game that can give you that, and then I'm wasting like 2 to 5 hours a week just doing mangle runs on Chimera, and then get 3% on the boss. No, thank you. I will stick with this. There'll be some weeks where I will go in for the trials if my time is good and bits and bobs. Also, I like to keep a couple of keys as well. I actually got this as well for the one key because I did it full auto the first time this week as well, so that's pretty nice. It looks pretty cool on the profile as well of 820 million damage there. Most people even center comps don't even see that type of damage. Obviously you got my nightmare, and obviously I ran it in clan boss as well. It's like the same builds, etc. Just did the same kind of presets with clan boss. You got 2 billion damage without even trying, and I can add a bit more if I wanted. Magma shield. If I get a spare magma shield, for sure I will throw it on there, potentially as well, just to give a bit more damage to my clan. But to be honest, I still want to be a team player for my clan, and as a clanmate, and even as a full-time CC, I don't try to sit back and relax and be carried by my clan. I actually try to do more stuff. So for my clan to win Chimera clashes and support them, and so they can focus more on trials, and I take a bit of the brute force of it, then I'll happily do that for sure, and focus on other areas of the game that I enjoy, because I really hate Chimera, and I think the rewards, to be honest, I don't hate Chimera. I hate the rewards, and I think the rewards are shite for how much work it takes to do. I think they're shite, and I think Chimera's lost value across the board because of other areas that are now dropping in relics. And the relic I'm chasing is the Hello Hits or the Rebirth, and that's just speed for Live Arena because I care about Arena. So that is about it in a nutshell. Hopefully I covered everything, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Even if you can't build this team, it's kind of nice to see on what this champion could do until he gets nerfed. If he gets nerfed, I do feel he will still get nerfed, so at some point I'll be forced to do my old team again, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as usual, I've been Grim. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Peace.